At 1:37 in the morning, a Pullman porter steps toward a curtained berth after a passenger rings twice and calls for George. The porter's real name is printed on a card near the entrance to the sleeping car. The passenger has walked past it all evening. But the porter also knows what a complaint or a missing tip can cost. His base wage is too small to make either risk feel minor. So he answers calmly. The passenger wants another blanket. He also reminds the porter to wake him before a small station at 4:45. His shoes are waiting outside the curtain, ready to be polished before dawn. The porter takes the shoes, straightens bedding he has already made once, and repeats the station name to himself. Then he returns to the end of the car, where the wheels hammer beneath the floor, and another call bell is already glowing. Before sunrise, he may carry luggage, convert seats into beds, lower upper berths, serve water, clean washrooms, shine a row of shoes, remember several station calls, and sleep for less time than many passengers spent over dinner. The luxury of America's finest night trains depended on a black worker who had to remain available, nearly invisible, and perfectly controlled while the entire car slept around him. And his shift had begun long before the train moved. Step back several hours to a station platform in the late 1920s. Pullman sleeping cars cross a vast national rail network, and the company employs large numbers of African American men as porters. The porter reports before the passengers arrive. In the years before the first union contract, much of this preparation may be unpaid. He checks the assigned car, receives linen and supplies, fills drinking water containers, counts towels and blankets, and makes sure the washrooms are ready. Every item matters. A missing towel, pitcher, or sheet can become his responsibility. He may have to maintain parts of his uniform, buy meals while away from home, and even pay for supplies used in passenger service. Then he prepares himself. The dark jacket must be brushed. Brass buttons and shoes must shine, the cap sit straight. His white shirt and controlled appearance help sell the idea that Pullman travel is more than transportation. It is a hotel moving through the night. He did not design that image, but he is expected to carry it. The Pullman conductor, usually a white man, holds formal authority over the car. He handles accommodations, tickets, and reports. The porter performs much of the labor passengers actually experience, but he has less power, lower base pay, and greater dependence on their approval. When boarding begins, he stands beside the steps. Suitcases rise from the platform into his hands. Elderly passengers need support. Families need help finding sections, compartments, or drawing rooms. Bags must pass through a narrow aisle without striking curtains, lamps, seats, or the people already settling in. The train has not left the station, and his body is already working. Questions follow him down the aisle. Where is the dining car? When will they reach Cincinnati? Can a window be opened? Will he wake someone before a stop in the middle of the night? He remembers the requests because forgetting one can mean a complaint. The company records passenger dissatisfaction, and the porter works under the knowledge that a single traveler can describe an entire journey through one missed call or one misplaced bag. His memory is not a courtesy added to the job, it is part of how he protects it. Then the locomotive pulls forward. The station roof slides away, the wheels find their rhythm, and his workplace begins moving through darkness. During the day, an open-section sleeping car resembles a narrow lounge. Pairs of upholstered seats face each other along the aisle. Above them, upper berths remain folded into the car. After dinner, the porter must turn that lounge into a line of bedrooms. He first works out who wants to retire and when. He cannot dismantle every section at once while passengers are still reading, talking, or returning from the dining car. Privacy is limited, so timing becomes part of the job. At an empty section, he lowers the sleeping equipment and converts the facing seats into the base of a lower berth. He positions the mattress, spreads the sheets, adds pillows and blankets, then lowers and secures the upper berth above it. He does all of this inside an aisle that rocks through curves and jolts over switches. The upper berth demands strength and control. He reaches above shoulder height, manages the weight of the structure, and locks it into place while the train is moving. Then he repeats the process section after section. The work looks orderly only after it is finished. During the conversion, mattresses block part of the aisle, blankets must stay clean, passengers squeeze past, and every movement has to account for the sway of the car. Speed matters, but haste can create the very complaint he is trying to avoid. Private rooms give passengers more space, but not necessarily less work for the porter. Their occupants may request water, extra bedding, food from another car, help with clothing, or assistance with luggage. To a passenger, a berth seems to appear. To the porter, every berth changes the rest of the night. A late bed delays the shoes. A call bell delays the cleaning. An early station shortens whatever chance he has to rest. Once the curtains close, shoes begin appearing in the aisle. Passengers expect to leave them outside at night and find them polished by morning. The porter gathers every pair and remembers where each one belongs. In a full car, one mistake can send expensive shoes to the wrong berth and produce a complaint before breakfast. He brushes away dust and cinders, applies polish, works it into the leather, and raises a shine beneath the service area light. The shoes become a map of the sleeping car. Large black pair, lower 6. Brown pair, upper 4. Women's shoes near the compartment. A child's pair beside them. The passenger who called him George is due off at 4:45. By the time the last pair is lined up, another bell is glowing. The porter's duties do not end when the passengers sleep. A bell may mean water, another pillow, a colder car, a hotter car, a sick child, a noisy neighbor, or fear of missing a station. The porter answers because he is the employee passengers can summon without leaving their berth. He also watches the car. At stops, he handles boarding and departing passengers, matches baggage to the correct person, listens for names and destinations, watches strangers moving through the aisle, and keeps the washrooms usable as the train sways. Rest comes in fragments. Before union gains improved conditions, porters often have no proper berth of their own. Depending on the car and period, a man may try to sleep in a smoking room seat or another cramped space left available to him. Even when several hours seem possible on paper, bells and station stops divide them into pieces. Some schedules demand stretches approaching 20 hours, followed by only a few hours of sleep. To receive a full month's pay, porters once had to reach as many as 400 hours of service, or 11,000 miles. The passengers experience a quiet hotel. The porter experiences a clock that never stops moving. The harder pressure is not physical alone. Whatever a passenger says, the porter must control his response. Some customers address grown men as boy. Others call every porter George, as though the worker belongs to George Pullman. Racial insults may arrive casually from passengers who still expect careful service, polished shoes, and a grateful expression. Open resistance is dangerous. A complaint can threaten tips, assignments, or employment. Company surveillance and fear of retaliation make organizing difficult, especially before the Brotherhood gains meaningful protection. That restraint should not be mistaken for acceptance. It is professional control under unequal conditions, maintained because one careless response may carry consequences the passenger never has to consider. The contradiction follows the porter across the country. He serves white passengers in sleeping accommodations that many black travelers cannot use on equal terms, especially in the segregated South. He crosses state lines for work, while Jim Crow determines where he may eat, sleep, or be treated with dignity after leaving the train. Inside the car, the bells continue. Then dawn begins to show against the windows, and the entire sleeping car comes back to life. Curtains open. Passengers wash and dress in cramped spaces. They want shoes, coats, luggage, coffee, and exact arrival times. The porter now reverses work he completed only hours earlier. He strips and counts the bedding. Upper berths rise and lock into place. Lower beds become facing seats again. Curtains are folded, pillows gathered, blankets stacked, and the aisle cleared for morning traffic. He works around passengers already awake and impatient to use the space. One section may still hold a sleeping traveler, while the next has become a daytime compartment. Nothing can be mixed. Linen, luggage, shoes, and personal belongings must return to the correct place. Between sections, he collects trash, checks the floor and washrooms, watches for forgotten property, and begins arranging baggage for the terminal. The car must look composed before the passengers notice how much labor it took to restore it. At 4:45, he checks his watch. He takes the polished shoes from the row and returns to the passenger who called him George. He opens the curtain only enough to wake him without disturbing the rest of the car, says the station name, and explains how much time remains. While the man dresses, the porter brings down his luggage and clears the aisle. The passenger reaches the correct platform with his bags. Whether he leaves a tip cannot be assumed. What can be seen is the work itself. Through bells, broken rest, insults, moving baggage, and changing berths, the porter remembered the station and completed the service without error. The passenger steps away rested. The porter still has a car to clear. That uncertain tip is not a small reward added to a secure wage. It may decide what the porter brings home. A 1926 Brotherhood report places an average porter's monthly wage at roughly $78 and average tips near $58. Food, lodging, uniforms, and work supplies consume a significant share of both. This changes every interaction inside the car. The porter must be attentive without appearing to ask. He remembers preferences, lifts bags, brushes clothing, and waits beside departing passengers, never knowing whether a full night of service will end with a generous bill, a few coins, or nothing. A passenger may insult him, ring repeatedly through the night, and still decide what the labor was worth in the morning. Yet the occupation offers more than its indignities suggest. For many black families, Pullman employment provides steadier income and greater opportunity than agricultural, domestic, or industrial work available under segregation. Porters travel widely, learn cities and routes, and become respected figures in their communities. Their movement carries information as well as passengers. They bring black newspapers between cities, pass along news of jobs and housing, and warn travelers about conditions farther down the line. Many use railroad wages and tips to buy homes, educate children, and build a measure of economic security in a country determined to narrow their choices. A porter may return from a route exhausted and underpaid, yet still carry knowledge, contacts, and income that matter far beyond the sleeping car. The work earns respect not because it is easy, but because people understand what it demands: memory, judgment, endurance, restraint, and the ability to keep moving under pressure. Individual discipline, however, cannot change company policy. That requires organization. In 1925, porters formed the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters under the leadership of A. Philip Randolph. Organizing is slow and dangerous. The Pullman Company resists the union, and men suspected of supporting it risk retaliation. For years, porters must build support while depending on the same company for their routes, wages, and employment. After 12 years, changes in labor law and sustained organizing force a breakthrough. In 1937, the Brotherhood wins recognition and a contract that reduces the basic work month, raises pay, compensates preparation time and delays, improves rest, and creates stronger grievance protections. The men expected to absorb every order silently have forced one of the country's most powerful passenger service companies to negotiate with them. Their composure had never meant consent. The end of the Pullman shift. The occupation changes because the night train itself begins to disappear. After the Second World War, automobiles, highways, and commercial aviation draw passengers away from long-distance rail service. Railroads cut trains, combine routes, and remove sleeping cars that no longer attract enough customers. Every canceled sleeper removes an assignment. The Pullman Company ends its operation of sleeping cars in the United States at the close of 1968. Railroads continue some sleeping service, and Amtrak retains experienced porters and attendants after it begins operating most intercity passenger trains in 1971. The work does not vanish completely. It becomes the modern sleeping car attendant, shaped by different rules, technology, staffing, and labor protections. What disappears is a particular system, one man carrying nearly every practical need of an entire car while its passengers sleep. In 1926, small name cards begin appearing in Pullman cars so passengers can see the given name of the porter serving them. The card is a modest object. It does not raise wages, shorten a 20-hour day, prevent every insult, or guarantee that a passenger will use the name printed on it. But it makes one fact visible. The man lifting the luggage, making the beds, shining the shoes, answering the bells, remembering the stations, and holding the night together is not part of the equipment. He has a name, and after everything the job required him to endure, the least the passenger could do was use it.